All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day. I have been thinking about this. You know what? Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to turn this just ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. There we go. Yeah, I'd say I'm in the middle of the frame. Okay. So, I have been thinking about this video kind of all week. And this is due to the political climate of the past week, with, I believe his name was Alex Purdy, who died. And that shooting, or execution, murder, whatever you want to frame it as. So it has just got me thinking about all that and what it means and what people fail to grasp. So I'm going to hit this set and then we're going to talk about it because shit's getting weird. So I am somebody who I guess you can call a conspiracy theorist, someone who loves the occult. I love reading about it. I love learning about it. I love esoteric knowledge. I love anything that is out of the box, out of line, stuff that makes you question reality itself, that makes you stop and think for a second, oh, there's more than meets the eye with what is going on in our current state of affairs, our current reality. Excuse me. And a lot of things. So, oh man, it came off. Hold on. I gotta fix this. Give me a second. I'm gonna put that right there so we can all talk to each other. So, perfect. If you all have seen these tattoos of mine, they have one overarching theme. Two, actually. One being balance, and one, the other, being truth. I guess my truth. What I know to be true. Regardless, there is. Let me preface. I think that's the word. Let me preface by saying this. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Doesn't matter your ideology. It just doesn't matter. We are all in this together. And if you want to get more political than that, I can say we are two wings or the same wings on the same bird. Well, you know what I fucking mean. There is no left or right. Sure, you have different ideologies, but at the end of the day, we are being scammed. And it doesn't. I voted, fun fact, and I didn't get what I voted for, not yet at least. We'll see. Take that as you will to who I voted for. It really doesn't matter. That was my first time voting, and I'm almost 30. Could have voted for past two elections, but I decided not to because I realized real fast that they're voting and protesting, especially in today's current system and modern world that we live in, westernized. Those two things are a smokescreen for the public to think they have a perceived amount of power. We don't have any. There is, and with that being said, I decided to, I saw after I got out of the military, I was overseas most of my time, and I just kept reading and hearing about everything that's going on in America, and I just couldn't stand it. Even knowing what I know, I was like, you know what? I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote today. I'm going to vote for what I feel like is right for the betterment and long-term security and future of our country. Because at the end of the day, I took a vow to defend the Constitution of the United States. And I'm going to hold that. Doesn't matter who's in charge. Like, I don't care about politics. I care about the idea that is America sustaining itself. So I'll always fight for that. Regardless, I voted, and I regret my vote for the sole reason that even I changed my deciding factor that voting is pointless. Now, if it's a grassroots thing, community level, sure, voting works. But when you get to this level, federal, it doesn't work. It's a perceived thing that you think you think you have a chance to change something, but you don't. Everything's written in stone, my friends. It's no matter which choice you make, it still leads to the same outcome. So I'm going to leave with that thought right now and hit another set. So circling back to the beginning of what I said, me being spiritual, esoteric in nature, cult-like, that stems into politics. And what I don't understand is once you start seeing, excuse me, once you take a peek behind the curtain, it's fucking terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And once you take that peek, you see patterns that you've never seen before. And those patterns and those dots that you're able to connect now, and it goes far back throughout history, you realize, oh, it starts to click that this world, and you know what, saying this might get me in a little trouble. Whatever. Hold on. Gotta keep it on. There we go. This world is run by, I'm just gonna say it. This world is run by a cabal of evil, elite, pedophile, satanic, who the fuck, doesn't matter, evil people that only want the power for themselves. And with that, there are two ways in order to control the masses and to remain in power. You have to instill fear into the public. And this fear comes two ways. One, divide and conquer. We know that just by the basics of left and right? You divide the nation in half and you just let them duke it out and let them fight over the trivial things. Divide and conquer. What was my second one? I am lost for a train of thought. Holy shit. I'll come back to it. Regardless, the powers that be, they stay in power by controlling the population. And even more so, you recognize with propaganda, regardless of the side you're on, that you're feeding your emotions into this power game that they're playing. So the more we as a society bicker, and I mean bicker to an extent that can cause death, violence, we are not winning. They are. They are controlling us more and more, and they are laughing behind the scenes, behind the curtain. So that's why I don't understand how people can be MAGA or extremely left. How can you be so sucked in to your ideology that you refuse to acknowledge that the other side does have right facts. They do have right opinions, objective opinions, right? So take a step back, ladies and gentlemen, and realize that there is more than meets the eye to everything that's going on. And that all of this is a ploy for you to further give up your freedoms, your control, your power, your emotions, yada, yada, yada. You're doing it willingly. So don't do that. Don't do that. I'm going to hit one more set, or two. I don't know what set I'm on. Regardless. I'm going to change grips. So we hit some more stuff. I think what I was trying to say, to be able to control a population, you divide and conquer, and you instill fear. And fear, yes, that is those two things. By instilling fear, you can do multiple things to do that. Right? Let's look at 9/11, for instance. Great way to instill fear, and to then further an agenda. Right? That's all this is. No matter which way you throw a stick, it's going to land in the same fucking spot every time. Oh, sorry, wrong grip. No matter what side you are, you are losing. Because they don't care about us. They don't care about the normal people. Everyday people that are just trying to live, support their family and themselves. They don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, the world, fuck it. The world is a strange place. A very, very strange place. And once you start digging deep and you start, I guess, for lack of a better term, going down rabbit holes and hopefully come out the other side alive, you realize that, one, none of this shit makes sense. And two, no matter which way you look, you're being manipulated in any facet of life. And once you realize that, you can then take your power back. So that brings me back to the beginning with what happened this past, let's say Sunday, so last Saturday, 8 days ago. It doesn't matter the narrative. It doesn't matter that I want to word this without sounding like a dick. It doesn't matter if Alex Peretti was left or right. It doesn't matter if he was trying to stop an ICE agent from doing whatever. At the end of the day, somebody died. Same with Renee Good. Someone died. Same with Charlie Kirk. Someone died. And they died due to an ideology. And that death and ideology combination is now being pushed for continuation. I want you to remember that we have a Second Amendment for a reason. I love the Second Amendment. So at the end of the day, the Second Amendment is to stop a tyrannical government from taking over. There are tyrannical governments taking over in this world right now. Look at Iran, how they just, from the reports I've seen or read, watched, doesn't matter, they've killed thousands of protesters. You, ladies and gentlemen, again, doesn't matter what side you're on, when you get to that level of shit hitting the fan, you are gonna want the Second Amendment. So again, it is there for a reason. And I'm hoping to God that that reason never comes to fruition. You don't want, You do not want that level of violence because when that Second Amendment is activated, I'm gonna hit this. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Yeah. When that is activated, violence ensues. There's a shift in the world that happens, especially in America, because I can argue that we are the strongest in the world for a country, military, economically. So if shit hits the fan with us, it has a ripple effect across the world. You don't want that. But at the same time, and I'm not advocating to go out and do anything violent. All I'm advocating for is to remain true to your beliefs and remain true to what it means to be an American and a patriot, and to not let overarching systems, people, and ideas power over you. Oh, I got one more set, then we're going to end this. So, Alex Petty, Nate Good, Charlie Kirk, they all died for a cause. I guess you can argue they're martyrs. So, with the political state of the world, these martyrs will go down in history books as pinpoints of our history that enacted change. Change is good. You want change. If you don't have change, you become complacent, too comfortable, and that leads to failures. But at the same time, you do not want the far extremes of either side of the aisle to occur. It's not good. So, with that, remember, Second Amendment is there for a reason. You don't want it to come to fruition, but if it's necessary, it's necessary. I'm leaving. I'm not doing that. Fuck that. And to remember to just have honest conversations with your neighbors, with your family, with your community. There's no need to bicker. There's no need to be hostile. There's no need to be violent. Just have an adult conversation and try to come to an understanding. Try to come to a common ground. And with that, you can then have forward progress. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Anabolic, and that's my 2 cents for the day. Deuces.